Hello, hello, and welcome. If you are new here, so am I. My name's Malin, like Melinda, but no duh. And today I wanted to talk about Helluva Boss. I recently finished season 2 and cried my whole way through. And so I wanted to discuss one little point that I actually thought really took away from some of the emotional impact that I was experiencing throughout the series, what I view as one of the weakest points of Helluva Boss. I want to point out this is not to say that the show itself has weak writing. It's actually incredible. I've also watched Hazbin Hotel. I started watching Helluva Boss because a friend of mine recommended the show to me, and I binged the rest of it in like 3.5 days. So I took some time kind of digesting the show after having enjoyed it. I really liked the characters. I think a little bit more in Helluva Boss versus Hazbin Hotel. But let me know if y'all ended up having kind of the same opinions as that. I think Stolas is a lot of fun. I think Luna is one of my favorite characters, but Fizzaroli absolutely took the cake for me, especially after season 2, episodes 6 and 7. I feel like those episodes giving Fizzaroli like a feature episode, I think that only served the show really well and his character, and that just, I can't believe I was crying over that buck-ass clown. I couldn't believe that I identified with him and felt what he was going through as if I was, because I completely understand where he's coming from. Like, I have to be good enough for these other people, because if I'm not good enough for them, then why can I be good enough for myself? I go through that. I'm still working on that in my own life and in my own therapy sessions, and so that was so real to me. And so I think the reason why I feel the point that I want to talk about today is the weakest writing point is because the addition of it took away from the emotional impact happening in Fizzaroli's episode, season 2, episode 6 specifically, called Oops. For those of you who haven't watched the show, I highly recommend it. I think you should go watch the show, especially at the very least season 2, episode 6, called Oops, just to kind of see what I'm talking about here. Basically, the premise is that Fizzaroli, a clown imp, is going to a gas station. He's just trying to go buy milk, and shit goes absolutely insane while he does it. He ends up getting kidnapped by someone who is trying to get his boyfriend to, who is like the god of lust, the sin of lust. They're trying to extort money out of Asmodeus by going through Fizzaroli himself, right? The classic hostage trope, great, super funny. What I think one of the problems is that comes into the episode is when Blitz is trying to apologize to Fizz for what happened when they were children. Not just... spoilers ahead. The episodes are super short. I gotta talk about everything that happens in them. Spoiler alert ahead. When they were kids, they were both in like the circus together. They were both performing clowns, all of that good stuff. We never got to see if Fizz had any parents or any parental figures growing up, but we do know that Blitz had his dad around. We know that Blitz had a mom. We've seen pictures of her, but we haven't seen her. We've never gotten any dialogue between him and her, only between Blitz and his dad. And so the backstory of that whole episode is we find out that, you know, the two had a little bit of a rivalry going on. Why not? The crowd seemed to like Fizz a little bit more than they liked Blitz, but the two of them seemed to have a really strong friendship, at least up until they were middle teenagers, maybe 15. I love my animals. Just coughing up water in the corner. Anyway, growing up in the circus, clown friends, all that good stuff, still friends up until about the age of 15 years old, based on the timeline established within the show. And it's shown later while Fizz is getting into Blitz's shit about the rift that was caused between them. Fizz is like, you never came around, you never came and say sorry, you did it on purpose, you destroyed me because you were jealous that I was more popular than you. And Blitz is insisting, no, I swear it was an accident, I didn't mean for this to happen. And we realize what happens is Blitz bumped into somebody who had opened fire on like a lit birthday cake, and that birthday cake, the candles caught the tent that Fizz was inside on fire. There were fireworks inside of the tent as well, which ended up blowing up, which blew up in Fizz's face, broke off his horns. That's why he's deformed for the rest of his life. He lost his arms and his legs in the hellfire that ensued afterwards. So he's now a cyborg at this point. He doesn't really have a normal body anymore, so to speak. And so that's fucking traumatizing. And in the moment when it happens, Fizz is reaching out, begging for Blitz to come and help him, and Blitz runs away. Now, we understand that from the outsider's perspective and learning from Blitz, he's not just running away because he's a shitty he's not running away because he saw him and was like, go fuck yourself, you can burn. He ran away because he knew the fire started because of him, and he felt guilty about it. He's 15 years old and learning, so he ran off because he was scared. It makes sense from an audience perspective. From Fizz's perspective, it looks like he was just abandoned, and so that's what they discussed together. And they have such a good moment leading up to it. They start apologizing. Blitz feels so bad. He goes, it was an accident. I didn't mean for it to happen. Fizz, I'm so sorry. but you don't know what I lost in the fire that day. And that's where the episode absolutely loses me, is in the middle of Blitz apologizing to Fiz. He then says, but what happened to me was much worse, and you should feel bad for me, and I shouldn't really have to feel bad for you because I'm so focused on this guilt. We come to find out in that split second that Blitz actually ended up killing his mother in the hellfire as well because of what he did, bumping into the person with the birthday cake. So he hurt 2 people in that instance. Now, the reason that I think that this doesn't work from a writer's perspective, from like a literary analyst perspective, is because it felt like trauma for trauma's sake and not trauma for character development's sake, especially because we don't know the mom's name. We don't know what she dreamt of, what she wanted, or what she needed when she was living. We've never seen her in a flashback before. We've only seen her in the same one. We've seen her in a photo. It's with Blitz and his sister, and then the mom in the middle. We've seen that photo burn up, and we've seen that photo on Blitz's phone. And so we know what mom looks like. We don't know what she sounds like. We don't know what her personality was like. From Blitz's crying and sadness, we can garner that she was a very sweet and kind and loving mother, whereas his dad's kind of a piece of shit who sold him to Stolas for a day for pennies at that point. That is already so juicy and so interesting. Dad selling son for just a day. He actually gets to come back home. It's not like a permanent thing, but he's sold like a plaything to Stolas as a kid. Stolas has no idea that happened, by the way. They never talk about it as adults, but there's already a dynamic established of a deep well of trauma between Blitz and his dad, and the obligation that they have and the role that they play in society as imps, as like the second lowest class, just above hellhounds, right? They are seen as barely above the dogs, so to speak. And I feel like there was such a huge missed opportunity to explore true gritty trauma in Blitz's past with his dad and through his storyline with Stolas. And I feel like just literally tossing in, you don't know what I lost that day, in the middle of an apology to somebody that you irreparably damaged. Like, Fiz's body is broken and he can't survive without his body getting re-augmented over and over again. And that impact of the, I'm so sorry that I did this to you, regardless of the fact that it was an accident or not, Blitz did that to Fiz. And while he was apologizing, he said, but you don't know what I lost that day. You might have lost your entire body, Mr. Robo Clown, but I lost my mom. That's a, like, do y'all see where I'm coming from with this? Why I think it's not working? I'm hoping that I'm explaining myself articulately in a way. And I could be conflating this just because of my own personal affection for Fiz as a character and the way that I identified with him, but it really truly just felt like accessory trauma rather than something that truly helps Blitz develop as a person, especially considering the trajectory that he and Stolas are likely to go on in season 3 now that they're together at the end of season 2. There's a lot that they need to reconcile with each other, and I feel like the foil between Blitz and his dad and Octavia and her dad, Stolas, I feel like that is such an incredible writing opportunity that I hope they capitalize on in the future. But I feel like it would have been a really good spot to start that journey, especially considering what happens with the fight between Blitz and Stolas later, as they're both struggling to apologize to each other. I feel like the practice run with Fiz earlier would have been better served without bringing the mom into it and without randomly writing that she died in that fire. I feel like there are so many more impactful ways that we could have the mom involved in the story. Like, for example, in Has Been Hotel, it seems like Charlie's mom, Lilith, is a secondary antagonist or even a primary antagonist coming into the second season based on how the first one ended. I feel like with... Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. No, that was pretty much it. The mom could be, like, Blitz's mom, what I mean is, she could be a villain, or she could even not be dead. The dad could have killed her. I mean, for fuck's sake, even Moxie killed his own mom in his backstory. So there are ways to handle having a dead parent without just having them dead. Like, it feels like the mom has been a fridged character and that her death is just serving as a, oh, sad, your mom is dead, but not what can we actually do with this from a writer's standpoint. And so I thought that was a really big missed opportunity and really pulled the momentum that was being built in the scene in episode 6 where Blitz is starting to apologize to Fiz and own up the shit that he does. He hurts people. And in that moment, he's starting to realize that it has lasting effects on them, which then could have been tied in later to Apology Tour when he's apologizing to all of his exes for emotionally damaging them. I feel like the apology should have been the focus, not the trauma behind it, if that makes sense for anybody. Because like I said, it really just felt like, ooh, let's just add in some extra spice without any substance to it. But that was just me. Okay, so that was pretty much it. I really wanted to just have a short-ish video talking about just a really quick bit of week writing within the season. But like I said, I really genuinely enjoyed Helluva Boss overall. I think the songs are a lot of fun. I do like the music in Has Been Hotel a little bit more, but I came away liking the characters and their complexities and just the overall whack shit going on. I think the expansive universe and the world building really brought me into Helluva Boss, because Has Been Hotel's really contained to the hotel and like the small areas around it. But here we actually get to go visit the other rings of hell, like lust and wrath and greed and all this kind of stuff. Like that was so much fun for me. So if you haven't watched Helluva Boss, highly, highly recommend. If you stuck around this far to listen to me bitch about a 2-minute sequence within a TV show, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.